Have hit these two things here, and now we have audio, and we're live, and hello, and oh, I'm not even in the right spot. I'm in where the dockets are. Look, I was setting up the docket and stuff. Look, I was distracted. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Discussing Tabletop. That is just, the smallest bit of technical issues. That's not a bad one, but everybody should be.
I'm sure.
The docket's there. Anyway, it's a busy week. We might not have deeper discussion this week because I think we joked about Wizards Direct last week, and they brought their game in beginning. They're like, hey, we have things to actually talk about. Here is everything all at once, and I'm like, okay.
I wasn't really expecting a lot of what we got.
I mean, hey. It's what they said they did have stuff. So.
They did have stuff, honestly. So I guess let's just dive into that.
Right.
Do you want to talk I want to hit both the Magic and the Wizard side, and so the Magic and the D&D side. Since we have Sel with us today, our new guest host, who might show up in the future.
Now.
Why don't we start with D&D, and then we'll hit up the Magic side.
That's fair.
So, we have one D&D?
It's a horrific name.
Well, look, it might not stay.
It is the code.
I'm pretty sure
it's
not
name,
gonna. That name is not gonna stick. It's really
no. Well, because don't forget, the reason why the D&D 5e subreddit is called r/D&D Next is because that's what the playtest for 5e was.
Yeah.
So I assume it's going to be something like that, but
I'm not.
It might not be though, because they kind of talked about the symbolism of one D&D and what their goal is. So I wouldn't be surprised if it stayed.
I guess they might just keep that maybe as the name for the VTT.
That might be it.
Because they did announce a VTT, which is the second time they're attempting one. Hopefully bad things don't happen and they can finish one this time.
I mean, again, it's like the previous story of the last VTT. It was 4th edition. We see how that went. And it needed one desperately.
It needed one. It's real unfortunate what happened. Stopped it.
So, I get the feeling, just from the wording here, updating, expanding the existence rules of the game, culminating in release of new rule books. This sounds like a 0.5 rather than a full release.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's.
So it's like a 5.5, which I'm not against.
I kind of figured it was going to be 5.5e because.
Well,
I don't think it's 60 for a while.
It might be more like a 5.75.
It could
depending
be
on how things turns out.
Mm-hmm.
Because it depends on how if everything at the current playtest sticks, and we assume there's no additional clauses and classes or whatnot, the way combat will work seems to be there is a difference in its its base level around critical hits, right?
A link to all of the announcements.
Here is they have it up on the D&D Beyond page. Here is the link to the announcement page where they listed them. I don't know. It's a tough thing to say. I think we're gonna have to see what they do in the full book to see what they call it. Because the thing is, I think spiritually it might be like a 6e, but they might call it not a 6e because again, their branding. 5e is branding now. They don't call it D&D. They call it 5e, and everybody's that's
No. That's
the thing is, they've actually never really called it 5th edition.
They call it D&D. They don't they try to brand 5e as D&D, but people keep referring to it as 5e.
They've never actually referred to it as 5th edition.
Okay, so I see. Okay, I think it's the thing that I feel like that's what everybody calls it, but they don't call it that, but they can't get the branding.
It's what it is. It's their 5th edition of Dungeon. Technically, it's more than the 5th edition, but we don't talk about the very first edition of D&D.
Look, we don't talk about the fact that there's 2 AD&Ds, 2 3rd editions,
It's technically more than 5th edition, but we're not going to get into that.
And I think actually
Now-
like 2 first editions too. That's what really, yeah.
Well, yeah, there's OD&D, like 1 and 2, basic and whatever, and then you have advanced D&D,
Yeah,
1 and then 2, and then,
yeah,
it's a mess.
It's a mess. Those early ones were a mess.
Yeah,
And then they were like, it's just the 3rd edition, and I'm like, and at that point in time, I wasn't even thinking about it because again, like
It was theoretically like the 5th edition, right? Or depending on you count the boxes, right? You had there's like the red box
Yeah.
and then white box,
There are
right? So
3, barring the changes in the playtest, because we're gonna get to that later. There were 3 announcements for the D&D side of things that interested me the most personally.
Mhm.
The Dragonlance book got more details.
board game too.
It is just the adventure, which I'm fine with because we already have kind of the setting book.
Yeah.
The adventure is, I think, it doesn't.
Shadow the Dragon Queen.
Yeah, Shadow the Dragon Queen is the adventure.
And apparently Warriors of Krynn is going to be the other.
Warriors of Krynn, I think, is
that the
That's
setting
the
board?
board game. That's the board.
Warriors of Krynn is the board game. The setting book is technically Fizban's Guide to Dragons or whatever.
Yeah. Because
because
is set in
it
Krynn.
has-
technically.
It has a bunch of information on Krynn in the front of the book.
Oh, I mean it's kind of lame though. Like, give a better source book for if you didn't do a lot of Dragonlance stuff.
The thing is, there's not really a lot on Dragonlance because it's mostly a novel setting.
I mean, like, they did have some books and some, like, monster books and for it, but, like, if I look back in AD&D, where, like, they did a lot of these different setting things, I think there is, like, comparable to things like even Spelljammer, Ravenloft, Dragonlance didn't get a lot of material.
One of the most amusing things that I saw relating to this Dragonlance adventure is the Polygon article that headline reads, Dragonlance reboot takes its inspiration from Saving Private Ryan. I don't know what the fuck that means. But, you know, I guess it's going to be more of a war story, which I'm cool with, because that makes a lot of sense for Dragonlance.
Well, I know nothing of Dragonlance. I read bits of the front cover of Fizban's. But
Dragonlance is probably the setting with, barring Eberron, which had a literal last war.
they had World War.
Dragonlance probably has the most war.
It's a very, like,
It's also kind of lowish magic.
yeah,
Well, doesn't Forgotten Realms have a lot of war and stuff? But the thing is, Wizards just like only focuses on the Sword Coast now, and nothing ever happens.
Forgotten Realms does have wars, but they're usually not, like, major wars. They're usually, like, minor wars between, like, 2 nations. Like, the thing is, I think Forgotten Realms, if you even, like, just look at Faerun, there are a lot of countries. I think it's the thing of Dragonlance is there's a lot of major nations, which is a lot
Dragonlance
different.
has the one big war called the War of the Lance.
Yeah.
Were they fighting over a lance that would be used on a dragon?
No, the gods came back and a cataclysm happened, and then the entire plane devolved into war.
Sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like technically the 4th book in the. It's one of the books in the trilogy of the Dragonlance books. I don't remember which one. But there's like a bunch of dragon wars and stuff
Mm-hmm.
that happen.
So it's a very much more world war.
It's people versus dragons. That's Dragonlance.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm excited for that adventure because the recent, like, Promper adventures was just what have been very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
The second announcement that I saw.
Mm-hmm.
Remember Lost Mines of Fandelver?
Yeah, are they remaking it? Whatever.
How it was a bunch of side quests not really stringed together. So they've announced that they're going to expand it into a full adventure.
Yeah, the Fandelver campaign.
Yep, they're going to be expanding Lost Mines into a full adventure, which I think is really cool because I actually like Lost Mines a lot. I just think if you put in the extra work to connect everything, it's actually a really solid adventure.
Mm-hmm.
And the third thing, Planescape got announced.
Planescape, yeah, like I'm looking at the more D&D books announcements. There's Keys to the Golden Vault, which is like it's an adventure. It's a heist adventure. Big Beast presents Glory of the Giants, so a giant book. I mean, that's fine too. I'm not against that one. The Book of Many Things.
I think I don't. This is the
player
one I
and
know.
DM options.
This is. It takes the Deck of Many Things, which is an item I hate, and makes a big book. And they're going to do a lot of stuff that I don't like. The Deck of Many Things.
I've used it a few times, but most of the time it's used for honestly memes.
Yeah,
memes, or like it's one of those things of like it's a weird artifact. You don't use it for anything serious normally.
No.
Planescape's very interesting because they're actually like saying like it's simple, you know.
Yeah, Planescape is this. I know we're not going to get like a full in-depth like they would have done for 3 and 3.5e, but this will probably be the first book we actually get to see the full post-Spellplague cosmology. It's still very vague in 5th edition what the cosmology actually is. Because the world tree exploded.
I'm just trying to think about how, like 5e in Planescape, and like, I guess what I feel like a lot of 5e campaigns are, just feels kind of like it doesn't almost fit. Because Planescape is some, like, wacky stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Planescape is... It'll definitely be interesting to see what they do with it. I don't think it'll be like a mega detailed book, because
no,
there's a lot of planes, and they leave a lot. They give you the framework, and the DM fills in the planes. So it'll be interesting, but I like Planescape.
I'll agree with you, Lightning. Deck of Many Things is a possible campaign ender. That's why you don't use it unless your campaign is like near that end.
Yeah.
When you draw the card that levels you up twice or whatever.
The one that puts your soul and seals it away like underground in some like distant place.
It seals it away on another plane guarded by an ancient being. It's like it's your characters that I had a friend that happened to. He just had to make a new character.
You specifically gain like 50,000 experience points. There you go.
Yeah, the Deck of Many Things in 5e is not great.
Oh, how about the one that you draw that destroys the planet?
Oh, that one's fine, yeah.
I mean, I also had a deck of Too Many Things that I used in a game, which was hilarious. Ended up getting two of the characters. The one was then madly in love with the other one because the other one was holding the deck. And then the other one was like, sure, I'll get married to you. I get a dowry. That was where they were at. Anyway. God, this is a lot of stuff, and it's like a lot of like... There's a couple more announcements like, yay, Dritz is 35, I don't really care, you know.
The one thing I have to say about that is the ebooks and audiobooks have terrible covers.
Did they stat out Dritz?
No, he's not actually. They just re-released.
Apparently, a family-friendly webcomic webtoon for Dritz's daughter Bree.
I didn't even know Dritz had a daughter.
It's got to be one of the current books or something. It's like
the daughter's named Bree. I guess what is Canterbury dead?
Maybe
like, might be named after Canterbury then.
That's
I've only read the Icewind Dale trilogy. I'll be honest.
Well, to be fair, I guess Dritz is an elf, and Canterbury is literally just a human. So, she would die pretty soon.
Yeah.
In terms of his lifespan.
Yes, that is true.
D&D is headed to Japan. I didn't know they weren't publishing it there. I've got to be honest, because it's sort of like, it's one of those things is like Europe, Japan, some other places in the world. I would have thought they would have, like, because they have magic in a lot of these places. Magic cards are in a lot of places in the world. I'm surprised they haven't sent D&D to a lot of them.
It doesn't surprise me that much, because translators are very expensive. And I don't know how big the tabletop market in Japan actually is, but also it could have been copyright issues because Japan has very strange copyright laws.
I'll give you that.
I've watched a video about why D&D isn't popular in like Japan, and there seems to be like there's I forget the name of the TTRPG, but there's like another kind of set of TTRPGs that's way more popular in Japan. And it's basically a kind of equivalent to what 5e is to us in like America, which is like the really dominant TTRPG people
because
play.
there's bigger TTRPGs in Europe as well. 5e is really kind of the big North American one.
Yeah, so it seems like that's kind of why it's not as popular out in seas. It's just like the market took hold in America really strong, but like it's the same thing with like PlayStation is like super popular in Japan because like Sony products, right, are as well in general. But like Xbox has no market share in Japan at all.
Xbox actually has basically no market share out of North America.
Well, yeah, true, because it's an American-only type of market space, so it's kind of
I mean,
that's just what it is.
Weren't they? Aren't they technically in China? It's like one of the few.
Microsoft, maybe.
Yeah.
But, I saw. Where did I see? I saw somewhere that like it was like an interesting like a history thing, and it was interesting just to see as a side tangent because we get a lot of those. That Xbox, I think it was One was the first actual like physical game system that was in China. After they changed their laws, basically, to allow things like game systems.
New market.
But apparently Microsoft is the first one into that new market. I can understand Sony not being because of various tensions that exist over, historical problems that have existed.
Yeah, also Microsoft just doesn't really compete with Sony that much, because they know they really kind of can't for market share.
Exactly. So, I mean, like, there's a lot to like break down here is the thing. I'm glad they are exploring more of the old settings. I think that's something that they didn't take advantage of very well, even in 3.5. I've got to admit, like 3.5. If you talk about the settings they introduced, it was Forgotten Realm. Well, they started with Greyhawk because that was still the basic back then. They didn't switch over to Forgotten Realms like 5e did, but it was sort of like Greyhawk, Forgotten Realms, Eberron.
Yeah.
Okay, we're done.
And they did. Eventually, they delved into the domains of dread a little bit.
It was technically a third-party approved book.
Yeah.
Like another company is like, we'll do Ravenloft for you, and they're like, sure!
They only really have done the 3 settings, so I'm glad that they're doing the old. I'm pretty sure maybe we'll get a Greyhawk book, but I doubt it. Mostly because I don't know if Wizards actually owns Greyhawk anymore.
They've mentioned stuff from it in the past, but I don't know if like now because it's like it was vague mentionings. I don't know.
Well,
the corpse of TSR is resurrected. Who knows?
Wait, was Greyhawk not D&D's original setting?
Mm-hmm.
It was, but we don't know what fully Wizards owns.
It could have been because like things that happen with like the corpse of TSR arising from the grave.
Copyright is hard.
Copyright confuses the
complicated.
Shit out of me. It's like we can talk about copyright. It would be confusing. I'm confused by it a lot.
Yeah, I think that
it's not enough books.
It's not enough. It's really not enough of the other planes. So I'm glad they're finally doing them at least.
Like, again, it's the same. It's other planes. That's good. But I'm just like I'm looking at their book releases that go up till fall 2023, and I'm like, it's still like they're just trickling out material, which I feel like again like I think I've said about it, especially on this show, it's not enough for what the kind of material they put out. The fact is, go ahead.
Me first.
I was just gonna. The fact is, like, I can see here one book on this entire list will actually help players and DMs with a lot of information. It's 2 adventures, a setting, and a thing on one type of creature that they might have some extra stuff for, like some giants you can fight.
Well, so I think it's mostly fine be- because the way that they have done 5th edition, it's pretty much since its beginning, is a couple of rule books every now and then supplemented with a lot of adventure paths.
Yeah.
Is that good? No, but that's kind of how they've just consistently done it since the beginning.
I know, but I would hope that they like with evolving into like a new thing. I would hope they would like I guess I can see that then. Actually, I can say with evolving into a new thing, I can see them sticking with the old at least until then.
Yeah. And it's also like depending on a lot of things. A lot of their rule writers are currently doing a very big thing that is probably taking up most of their time.
Yeah.
What, most people are working on the next version of D&D?
Yeah, weird, I know.
I know. Yeah.
I
Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess last point. I think with the source books, I think with 5e they've always been kind of terrible, and they will probably continue being pretty terrible.
Just wish they were bigger.
I wish they were actually more source book and less like. Again, it's this weird thing that they do a lot of little things, and I feel like they don't do any of them quite well enough.
You know what they should do? They should take a book out of Pathfinder 2e, their source books. Mm-hmm. All right, they add content to classes related to the areas they're talking about. They give you lore. They give you ideas of how to play the character. They explain the setting, and it's nice and useful. And you can even do it for regions and Forgotten Realms. Think of how much money they can make.
Everything has to be for the Swords Coast.
Just think about how much money. But they could even do it. They could make a Icewind Dale source book and have
we
subtitles.
We need to know what happens in Neverwinter again. We need to know that.
I think the example of the. Go ahead. First.
It's just they could make so much money and it would be so good.
It's kind of but it is what it is.
Yeah. It's the thing that I think it's one of those things about 5e books that I feel like 5e books are kind of all terrible. There's a generalized I think it's yes, they give us a lot of little things, but that's the problem is it's a lot of little stuff that's only partially there. I feel like a lot of times it's sort of character options, a couple of monsters, maybe some items, some world building, and an adventure all in the same book.
Something that isn't being mentioned and is something I have just remembered. When an adventure path comes out, a portion of the adventure book is dedicated to its location.
But the thing is, it's usually also some character stuff and maybe a bestiary and I'm looking at the Dragonlance one. Also villain rules.
Yeah.
Well, that's my point though. I feel like if they just dedicated you don't have to make a whole 140, 200 page book. Make a 60 page book.
Yeah.
With subclass options for the region, which would be cool, right? You make you explain the whole area. You can be parts of a player's guide, or in the adventure module, you can have the beginning of that instead of being about the setting, which you want there still, right? But you could also include there ways to play characters in that setting. But isn't Rime of the Frostmaiden or whatever? Don't you get kind of just stuck there?
So I haven't played Rime of the Frostmaiden yet, but the opening of it is bad.
You get teleported, right? Or you just get stuck?
No, you just get stuck in a snowstorm there.
Yeah,
There's perpetual winter. The adventure doesn't do a great job of getting the party together, but it works enough.
It's just, I guess my thing is I'd rather there be source books that provide you options, because options for characters. Imagine if all classes had an ice or snow based subclass.
Yeah.
That came out with the Icewind Dale or whatever the book is called,
there's-
Rim of the Frost Maiden.
Yeah,
That would be so
Rim of the
sick.
Frost-
But
And you'd
Here's my idea.
or fire, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like pyromancy, you know what I mean? It's cool.
Yeah.
That's all.
Here's my idea. Just split these books in half. Just make 2 different books, slightly larger, with a little bit more detail. You have your setting book with, like, your monsters, classes, and information on the area, and then a book that goes along with it, and just sell them as a fucking bundle. People would eat that up, and then the adventure.
They might do that, but we've seen them recently try that with Spelljammer, and people are mad about it. So,
Well, I think because it's just they're not apparently great.
I've only seen people complain about it.
I've got to like dive deep into
memes
it.
Memes that are probably wrong because people who post these memes don't play D&D.
Yeah, never trust D&D memes for anything.
No one on that subreddit knows how to read.
They all think they can read.
The last thing I'll say on setting books is, funnily enough, the best setting book that they've ever actually released is the Underdark Adventure, because half of that book is all the Underdark information.
So, certainly, there's a lot of announcements here on that side, but we should probably also talk about the Magic the Gathering stuff, because honestly, I don't know about a lot of this here, you know?
I've not seen any of the Magic announcements.
Okay, so it's a lot of the new stuff. We knew that it was Dominaria Night is the set that's coming out, and then Brothers War is the next one. They've announced it like Phyrexia, All Will Be One, March of the Machines Aftermath. So that's like, they say it's 4 sets, but it's like 5 sets that are supposed to be the storyline.
I remember now that image got posted, and it's like, it looked like a fucking Disney announcement. Like here's a billion things.
Yeah, like, and then like a couple revisits of a couple planes. Those are fine.
I'll be honest, like, from a story perspective, it seems like they're doing Phyrexia again. I don't really care.
I don't feel like they're doing it right.
Phyrexia is kind of boring and been done already.
They took it in an interesting path originally when it was in the Scars of Mirrodin block, when they reintroduced them with the idea of like, oh hey, it's the 5 different colors of mana have altered them and kind of changed them a little bit. But then, like, when they had that opportunity, they just squandered it. We're like, oh yeah, the white one took over outside of sets. They just did that. And so now they're like, you know, united and doing like stuff again and not warring in between each other. We just got rid of all that stuff and made them one unit threat again.
They've waited too long to use Phyrexia again.
Oh yeah, I said it's like over 10 years.
They've waited too long. It's not relevant anymore.
No. And they're using it now, and they're doing a lot of shit with it that I think is just stupid. Like, I'm like, it's sort of like, I'm not sold on any of the storyline stuff, and like, honestly, like, I don't know. Like, it just feels like, you know, up until next year when the Eldraine and Ixalan set, because those are very much more interesting, come out, I might not be that interested. Like, the fairy tale specific setting, and then the weird, like, South American pirates, dinosaurs, vampires plane, which was really, and merfolk, was really cool. That one, revisiting that one, sounds cool. Pirates, like, dinosaurs, you know, go ahead.
The storyline is going to go into Phyrexia, and I don't really care about Phyrexia. The thing I feel the most about it is, like, the Kamigawa storyline for Neon Dynasty and then the New Capenna storylines were very isolated, but they will inevitably lead into this big storyline. I think there should maybe just for a little bit, because they're off the backs of the big, epic War of the Spark thing, and I think they're trying to recreate that too soon. I think they need to do maybe a couple solo storylines that don't really feed into a big thing.
They could have done some, like...
It's like the Kamigawa one is pretty self-contained, except there is mention of the one Phyrexian Praetor, I think it's the blue one.
Yeah.
Is on Kamigawa. But, like, doesn't really do much besides Phyrexian Tameo.
Yeah.
I think that's still stupid, but...
You know what? They Phyrexian the Catman, Johnny.
Oh, is he? Oh, that's also dumb.
Yeah, that's the card spoiler's already out. You know, well, that's just in their actual cards if you look at them. they got him. I am. I'm like, wow, well, great. This is dumb. This is dumb.
Yeah, no, it's like, I mean, it's eventually, I'm pretty sure it's gonna end with a cure for being Phyrexian being found, and they'll all go back to normal. Because honestly, that's probably what's gonna happen.
That sounds so stupid, though.
But that's what's gonna happen, because...
I'm really feeling bad about this next set, though, too, because it sounds like there's fucking around with time travel.
Yeah, because, like, Johnny is so iconic, you can't fuck with him and turn him into a villain forever.
Hey, here we go. Brothers War. Here's the statement I saw. As we follow familiar planeswalkers traveling to one of Dominaria's key historical moments, they're fucking time traveling!
Nice.
Rather than actually just having a set in, like, a history point in time, which would have been interesting, they're just like, nah, time travel.
Nice. I don't know, man. Let's give me more stuff with the Wandering Emperor. That's all I care about.
Dominaria Remastered.
Give me new, weird planeswalkers. And, like, I don't care about a Johnny anymore. I don't care about Tamio. I don't care about what's-his-face with the metal arm and all the artifice bits. Just give me new, interesting things, please.
I mean, honestly, like, the thing about the Dominaria stuff that I can say that I like seeing was, because I remember back in the early days of Magic, I did read some of the novels and the comics. One of the characters from that time period is getting a Planeswalker card in the Commander cards for Dominaria Reddit.
Well, that's cool, at least.
Yeah, I'm like, Jared Carthalion. I'm like, I remember that name. Who the hell is that guy? I had to look him up. I'm like, fuck, man, I forgot about this guy because the last time you used him was, like, actually now, like, 25 years ago.
Yep.
It's like, anyway.
On the storyline side of things, I don't really care about or Magic the Gathering. On the card side, from what little I've seen, I also don't have any interest in any of those middle sets, and won't really care until they go back to the weird planes.
Yeah. The Lord of the Rings set seems interesting. I mean, like, it's Lord of the Rings.
I mean,
that's like a really nice one.
Can't wait to put Gandalf in a Phyrexian deck.
I have something for Universes Beyond that was announced that I have to bring to us in Commander decks, Collectors, Boosters, and Secret Lair.
Oh, shit.
Doctor Who.
That's, like...
It's weird.
It's weird, but it's, like, not... I mean, they've already... You can't say it's weirder than Fortnite.
I guess I can't.
Or Street Fighter.
I guess I can't.
Because, like, Doctor Who does...
Or Warhammer 40k, I guess,
Yeah, like, or Walking Dead, or fucking Stranger Things.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I just sigh and, like, shake my head a little bit.
At least it's probably gonna come with stickers and some shit, so...
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I wanted to talk a little bit about Dominaria United, but, like, I feel, like, less enthralled right now about it. It's not looking bad. Like, they have, like...
Fine.
Like, they've showed off, like, some, like, cards, and, like, none of them... They haven't showed off a lot of, like, Phyrexian stuff. There's, like, a few, like, Sheldred, who's supposed to be there or something, and there's supposed to be, I guess, something happening, but I'm like, You're like going to war against them again, I guess? Didn't you already do this in a set, like, I don't know, back when it was called Apocalypse? I don't know. Want to talk about character origins? And then Spelljammer? Let's talk about character origins. The Art of Arcana. I'm going to post this in chat.
I was eating. No, I'm not eating.
So, I've had a chance to look over this a little bit. I don't know if either of you have looked over it.
I've fully read it.
All right, then I will let you kind of lead our way here a little bit.
So, the biggest change in this UA, and this is handling specifically how you will generate your character's race and background. Specifically, yes, they do. It's seen as fine lightning. It's a bunch of old people pushing each other around with magic. It's hilarious. Anyways, they give you new rules for race, the language rules, background feats. They've also changed a couple rules. I'll get to those. As for races, technically speaking, mechanically, half humans have been expanded a lot at the cost of
Rhubarb.
having half orc and half elf appear in the book. But
Well,
I think it
yeah.
is ultimately better because instead of having these defined traits for half elf or half orc, you pick a trait from both of your parent races.
No, you don't. You've read that wrong. You only
Ed
pick one
explained it,
race.
so. Yeah, so it's fine. Yeah, I don't know if I'm too keen on the half human stuff. It might play out interesting. I don't know. I don't play a lot of half humans.
I play some, like half elves were like a traditional one. I think I have played a half orc, but not since like 3rd edition, honestly.
Yeah,
So
if you'd like to play the child of such a wandering pairing, choose 2 race options that are humanoid to represent your parents. So yeah, you do pick 2.
No, but you only get the traits of one. So if you're half elf, half human, you either pick human or elf traits, and then you could look part elf.
Yeah,
right.
I think that's the
That's
part
all
of
it
it that
is.
makes
yeah,
it like that's just
why,
yeah.
right.
that's-
That's why it's lame.
That's why
that's
it's
very
terrible.
lame.
Because,
Yeah.
Like they didn't come up with a system where like this is the way you pick 2 traits from people. They just say it's basically saying, hey, do what you've always been doing for your half races. You pick one, and then you just kind of look a little different.
Yeah.
Which is just really lame, and then it's gotten rid of half elves and half orcs for no reason.
Humans, their traits are mostly the same. They're variant human. They've just made that the real one, except now you also get inspiration every time you long rest.
It's important to note that they can't pick any feat. They can only pick 1st level feats now, which is a new type of structure.
You gain
or skill feat.
A skilled feat or a 1st level
is-
feat, which is I think fine.
Yeah, skilled feat is also a 1st level feat, so I don't. I guess they were giving a default for some reason. But...
I mean that makes sense. Skilled is the default human trait in older editions.
Mm-hmm.
There's the new Ardling Race. Got some weird flying. Look like
Angel
an animal.
furries.
It's angel furries.
That's what they are.
Yeah, they're angel furries. They're basically like they remind me of the whole Egyptian.
They're the Azadas. They're children of the Azadas, basically. Yeah. Okay.
Well, they're from all 3 planes. So
Dragonborn has
like
once
Hound
again,
Archons and stuff.
Oh, it's like
Dragonborn
Archons.
Yeah, Dragonborn has once again been made. It's not as good. It's not as good as Invisitants.
True.
Specifically, the breath weapon has been redone again. Instead of how it is in Fizbins, where it's cantrip skills, it's now a 10 plus year level.
Feats are not optional now.
Dwarf feels more dwarf.
Yeah.
Dwarf's nice.
Dwarf is nice. I like what they did with dwarf. You get tool proficiencies. You get dwarf toughness, dwarf resilience, and the stone cunning. So you can bonus action tremor sense. That's really cool. Elves are weird now.
They're mostly the same.
Mostly the same, but if you want to play a drow, you no longer get the penalties of playing a drow.
Yeah, you don't get sunlight sensitivity.
Yeah, sunlight sensitivity is gone.
Which I think they're doing for all races anyway already, so...
It's I think, is fine because it's an annoying ability. Elf, mostly the same. I don't know if half-elf got you can swap out the cantrip every long rest. I don't know if they had that before or not.
They did not, which is a cool upgrade.
Never played high elf. I only play wood elf.
Well, actually, to note, they didn't even get 3rd or 1st or 2nd level spells. They only got cantrips. So now they actually got a pretty huge buff.
They get Detect Magic and Misty Step, which is really good. It seems like they folded especially with this Misty Step. They folded Eladrin in with high elf, which makes sense because Eladrin's just high elves. Gnome is like, I don't think Gnome changed that much, right?
No. Rock, no, I think might have a little different. Well, actually, the only real important note is Gnomish Cunning currently applies to all Int, Wiz, or Charisma saves and not just from spells. But that's like 99% of those saves anyway, so
it'll probably get a wording update, or it might get left. It's not like that strong.
It's functionally the same.
Yeah, it would just be they tack on an extra couple of words.
Yeah.
Halfling exists in mostly the same way.
I mean, like, they don't
exactly
say you have
the
a
same.
limited use of your luck.
Yeah, luck is, again, because it's playtesting, luck might get a limit.
Does Lucky didn't have a limit in normal 5e?
Didn't it? What was the wording on Lucky?
It might be once per turn, actually, so I guess it might, but I don't actually know. I've never played a halfling.
So halfling, I'll pull it up, because I believe it does have a limit. Let me just check.
I got the book here.
Lucky's the same, it just has different role. Just has some different wording on it. The luck feat is the one that has the limit.
Oh,
Yeah,
I forgot
luck feat.
It's been a while since I've played an actual halfling.
Yep, they're stealthy. I think stealthy got added on to them, and that was their only real change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, since I lost, they didn't have what they considered culture sub-races. They didn't have those anymore. So I think they're all basically Lightfoot halflings in a mechanical sense.
Mm-hmm.
Orc is just better now.
Yeah, they basically got the half-orc relentless endurance trait put onto their stat block. Which is pretty good.
Tiefling is the one that for me is the best change, specifically because at least as it stands, there are no longer like 20 sub-races for Tiefling.
Mm-hmm.
And you get different types of resistances based on your sub-race, which is cool.
Tiefling has been made a lot cooler.
I think it's the idea that, like, the three they give are, like, Abyssal, Chthonic, and Infernal, but you could probably say, like, oh, it's from one of the various, like, if I'm Infernal, I'm from my descendant from one of the various lawful evil planes. It's like, they call it Infernal, which kind of screams Nine Hell, but it could be any of them. It's just like...
there's also other evil planes. Those might get added in, but as it stands, you just have Abyssal...
well, they mentioned, like, under Gehenna, Archon, and Nine Hells.
Yeah, wait. Alright, I might be dumb here.
Farion.
Is it Infernal the lawful evil plane, Chthonics neutral evil, Abyssal's chaotic evil? Is it the only three evil planes?
No, there's a lot of evil planes.
There's a lot of evil planes. There's more.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, are these the only outer ones? Because I think that's what...
well, like, Abyssal, they mentioned Pandemonium, but the Abyss and Pandemonium are both chaotic evil planes that are outer planes.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. That's it for the races they presented. All of them, I think, are fine.
Yeah.
I think they're good changes overall.
The big...
yeah.
Sorry, you go ahead.
No, I think I like what they did with separating the cultural sub-races from the, like, genetic actual, like, differences. Which I think is cool. Because now it makes, like... Now you can fit... If you put dwarf in your world, now there's, like... I think Jeremy Crawford said it's, like, it's a dwarfiest dwarf a dwarf could be.
Yep.
And then you get your other stuff from your backgrounds, which is nice.
I do like that, like, they've switched abilities. Like, this is the thing here. This is what I'm enjoying. Rather than still having the ability scores tied to what you're born from, making it part of your background, I think this is a good direction for that. If you do not want you to, like, orcs get +2 and stuff, they're just like, oh, background gives you that stuff.
This is a direction for the backgrounds a lot of people have been wanting, which is why they did it. Because a lot of these changes were made specifically because people have been saying they want these changes.
Like, I still do like the Pathfinder 2nd Edition way of doing things where they're like, you get like all this, like, a lot more choices still to that thing, and you don't really get, like, I don't know. I can complain about, but, like, this is I don't mind this direction. This is the direction I can accept.
The backgrounds, if you want to take over on that one, so.
Yeah, the backgrounds. It's a very simple way of doing it. They have like 2 options, right? Build your own, or you could just grab a sample one. As a TLDR, right? You get your ASIs from your backgrounds, which can be +2 to 1 stat, +1 to 1 stat, or +1 to 3 stats. You get 2 skills, you get 1 tool, you get 1 language, which can be standard or rare. You get a first level feat, and then you get 50 gold. So now all backgrounds have equivalent amount of gold, which I didn't even realize that they didn't, but I guess that makes sense. They didn't. I've never looked at that, but you know.
Yeah, the background seems to be weird.
So, and they give like example ones. So like they have acolyte stove that gives a +2 wisdom, +1 int, insight, religion, calligrapher's supplies, and celestial with the magic initiate divine feat. And then they have like a set of equipment, which is like nice and useful if you're building like a character quickly, or like maybe like an NPC or like a sidekick.
Almost get more money than penniless vagabonds.
True. One of the reasons why I really like this, and I've kind of realized it because I've been watching a lot of old RPGs, is a lot of older RPGs, when you picked your character, you just got a list of abilities you could mix and match through, and that's what these backgrounds scream to me, is a lot more deeper customization.
And I guess the cool thing here is that like not everyone did it, but like when you just kind of like, so I imagine a lot of people kind of picked the background and then went with it and didn't think too much about it. But now like depending on how your DM is, right, if they're like, so whatever your ability score is, skills, tools, language, feat, like in your backstory, explain where these things come from, right? Like in normal backgrounds, currently you're like, I was a noble, and then that's kind of the end of the line.
The normal backgrounds are very restricted. There's not that many of them.
I mean, I do have to, like, to a degree, still agree with Lightning. Something brought up that, like, we're still very generic on the species/race side of things. I mean, like, honestly, and like opening up to compatibility is also one of those weird things of like certain ones of these things I feel like are less compatible than the other, but you can, they just say you can do it.
I think we'll end up getting better rules on half humans.
Yeah,
down the line,
or just like I can like see like, you know, like things like elf, dwarf, but like dragonborn. Aren't they?
Biology there.
Yeah, the biology seems different there.
Well, and I guess one little annoying thing with it is that they bake it into the rules currently. So like, it's not like, hey, discuss to your GM which half races are available as a standard for your world, because not all worlds are gonna be like everything can have children with everything.
Yeah.
I still am not happy about the ability scores being removed from them, but at least I feel like this is a slightly better way of doing it. We wanted to do it.
I will say, to the race species being physically and mentally the same, I disagree, because in 5th edition, it is like almost explicitly stated, player characters are the most extreme outlier of the race.
That's true.
They are meant to be different.
I think I think that's the thing about 5th edition, which always makes me feel okay about that concept. Because again, like, I think it's one of those things I've always said. It's the difference between, like, either of the Pathfinder systems and 5e. In a Pathfinder system, you're just a normal dude doing normal dude stuff that eventually becomes a hero.
Yeah, in Pathfinder, you're Farmer Joe who maybe killed 2 goblins and now you're a fighter.
Yeah. In D&D 5e, you're like epic hero at level 1 because you're already much more difficult to kill than anything else.
I do want to put an important note here. I think the races are still, especially in the ones laid out here, still lean into parts of what their stats would be. So Dwarf has resilience to poison still, and they get 1 extra HP per level.
Yeah.
So they're still more hardy than like a human.
This will
and then Orc still has powerful build. So an Orc might not be like 12 strength versus 10 strength, but they can carry twice the amount, or 1 size larger. So they are still stronger in a visual sense than a human.
Dragonborn themselves, they still lean into an up close and personal martial because of the limited range of their breath.
It still leads into those abilities, so I think that's another good thing about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's mostly like I think
it's fine.
The standard people are gonna be standard people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The commoner is still gonna be a commoner based on the culture of dwarf, elf, whatever.
They've redone a bunch of these feats and having like a number of abilities under each of the feats. It looks like.
Yeah, I like how these feats are laid out. The big one I'm gonna look at is Tavern Brawler, because Tavern Brawler was kind of the meme feat for a while. It's the lol, I can throw a chair at someone and I'm proficient with the feat. You can still do that, but the feat also gives you some damage rerolls on your unarmed strikes, and it gives you bonuses to your shoving. Another one is Healer. You can still do the Healer's Kit thing as an action, but when you roll a die to determine hit points restored by a spell, you can reroll it if it rolls a 1. So it buffs clerics a little bit to take this. It makes these feats that were previously meh a little bit more better.
Yeah, it's good. Hey, the chef feat might be great if they redo that one.
No, I think the chef feat's already perfect.
And in the grand scheme of things, rerolling a 1 on dice is like a very minor increase to like the average. So like it's like a slight boost, which is nice.
Yeah, because you could always roll a 1 again.
Yeah, right. It's like a 0.4 or something increase to like the average. So
yeah. Alert also gives you initiative swapping now,
which is really good actually.
That's like actually really good. Alert was already good in 5th edition. Now it's like pretty good.
The biggest thing to note is if the bardic whatever it's called, knowledge or whatever, stays the same, bards, if they have the alert feat, they don't stack.
No.
Because you're proficient with initiative.
Yep. So you don't get your jack of all trades to your initiative anymore, which I think is a good balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not a +5, so most of the time you're actually getting a lower bonus to your initiative, but now it scales, so I guess it like feels progressive.
Yeah. You're getting better at reacting.
Yeah.
The alert feat's probably the best feat in this list.
Yeah, tough is still kind of the same.
Tough's still pretty good.
Tough's exactly the same, but tough is always good, right?
Tough is just a good feat. Skilled is also, I think, like entirely the same.
Yeah, it's exactly the same. It's fine. I take it.
Well, it's different.
But
actually.
Also, it is different. They have this one word here called repeatable. Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay, that's good. I didn't see that because it's kind of weird split in half.
On top of it is that you actually can't pick instruments or tools of skilled anymore. But you wouldn't do that anyway. But they have different feats for that. They have musician and craft.
True.
There's a good thing to note too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think these are really good direction for feats. Something else that has been added is something that was present in previous editions of D&D. Sign language is back.
Sure.
Yeah.
They've made the return of sign language.
Yeah. Like, granted, I think the one in 3.5 was like Drow sign language or something.
Yeah, it's Drow sign language. Now it's common sign language.
Which is, I'm not fine with that. It's like other races could develop it too. Yeah. That's fine.
I guess another weird note is that you can, with your background, you can learn Druidic or Thieves' Cant. Which is a little weird.
I think that will change.
Well, Thieves' Cant is fine for like a criminally background, but I don't understand.
I think Druidic will end up getting excluded.
Well, like if you're a sage or something like that, well, they say Elvish, but like I'm thinking like certain. Since most of
well, actually, I say this, but imagine your background. You know Druidic because you're a initiate. You take the Magic Initiate Primal feat, right? And you studied under the Druids, but that just didn't stick, and you left. I mean, that could be pretty reasonable.
Yeah. Okay.
So maybe I'm wrong with it, right? It's a little weird, but
because the rare languages are usually on DM approval, anyways.
Yeah. You can. Well, I guess depends on how you. read the rules now, but it's always DM approval.
Yeah.
Also, they got rid of the primordial dialects, and they just have it as primordial now.
Yeah.
So the other thing is they did steal something from Pathfinder, which is a good thing to steal. They only did 3 of them, but they have 3 spell lists now, just general spell lists: an arcane, a divine, and a primal.
I think this, much like how it happened with you, I think this is a natural evolution of how spells will just be done.
Yes,
I think this was the natural evolution. It was always going to be.
It's
now.
I agree.
The question is, how would they handle bards, right?
Bards
are arcane.
Bards are listed as arcane.
Yeah, but are they gonna get cure wounds, healing word, or is that no longer gonna be a thing available to them?
That is a good question.
Right? Because a lot of support spells bards have now wouldn't be in their spell list anymore.
I was gonna say that's why something with Pathfinder 2e is they have a 4th list, occult, because that kind of mix arcane and divine, or primordial and divine. It mixes like a couple of all the other ones. So things like bards take occult, which are like weird little studies of everything, and a couple of other abilities that are unique to them. And I think that's where this might suffer a little bit, unless they're specifically like also add these spells to your list, but that's a little complex.
Yeah, we'll see what it's like when the class changes come out, mostly. Something I want to mention, and this is something I noticed during Children of Wrath, really, when I was reading through this. Eldritch Blast is not on any of these lists.
Yep. I think it's going to be a Warlock class feature.
I think it's going to be a class feature for Warlock, like it should be.
Thank you. I mean, like, there's a couple other things that we've talked about previously when we talked about, like, the classes are, like, they're not all equal. Like, I think that's one of those things is the 5e classes, there are certainly those that you can point out that, like, this is a very good class, and this one, it's not like they're not bad classes. They're just worse off a lot of times, where you have to be a specific build for it to work. Like, there are some classes where you could be like, you could be any build, and they're fine. And other ones is where, like, well, what am I going to take for this one? This, because else my abilities are going to suck. Getting rid of some of that shit is good, and I'm happy if they are.
What will make and break, I'm just going to call it 5.5, because what will make and break this for me is what will happen to Sorcerer and Warlock, which are currently, in my opinion, the 2 worst design classes of the edition.
They definitely are the.
They've already at least announced that Sorcerer will be changed. And I'm assuming Warlock is going to get this. I'm assuming everything is going to get changed.
Making Warlock's Eldritch Blast a class ability automatically. I think I talked about this weeks ago, like where I was talking about how like the Eldritch Blast was a class ability in all other editions of the game, and was made to be very useful in that way, and like making a spell like made it not.
What I would like to see is the different packs changing Eldritch Blast's behavior, making the pack matter a little more with that. But we'll see.
Yeah.
That I don't know when that UA is going to come out. I think they're doing these monthly, but I don't appreciate all the classes being put out at once.
Yeah. We'll kind of see what they do.
I think there might be 3 things you want to quickly cover that have changed also in this.
In the general rules.
Oh, okay.
Grappling is different.
Grappling is now an unarmed attack. I think that's fine. I actually think that makes sense.
And it's a DC based to escape.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
And grappled, people that are grappled have disadvantage on attacking anyone except their grappler.
Yeah.
Which now gives a even stronger incentive to grapple people.
So basically, they made it a lot like original, like grappling used to be, and or is it every other edition, and made it actually useful.
Yeah. Yep. Inspiration is just a thing now.
I mean, it was. Yeah, I know. It was like kind of one of those things. The sheet that really wasn't. Yeah.
I might run it how they have it in this document because I think
this is a really good way to do inspiration. And the last thing that seems to have everyone up in a kerfuffle for whatever reason, even though I think it's fine. Crits are very different now.
Yeah.
Players, we don't know if monsters can do them, because we haven't seen the changes to monsters yet. So I'm going to withhold. I'm not going to say monsters can't do it, because I don't know if they can. But for players specifically, only weapons and unarmed strikes crit now. Spells do not crit, which I think is fine, because most targeted spells kind of go away after a certain level. And you're left with mostly the AoEs, which are in all honesty, the better spells to take anyways.
Yeah.
True.
And I think maybe in older editions, I don't know if spells crit or not. I don't really. I didn't play a lot of 3E.
In Pathfinder they do.
Yeah, in third edition, yes. It's if you had an attack roll, it could crit, but it had to be attack roll for it.
I think this is like I've seen so many people on D&D memes who are angry about this for, I feel like, reasons they don't understand.
Well, I'm fairly positive as the currently written, because Jeremy Crawford said it. I've watched his the hour and a half long video he did. Monsters cannot critical hit.
Yeah, I haven't watched the hour long video yet.
So, he directly says they can't critical hit. So he brings up recharge mechanics. So we might see more monsters with recharge mechanics.
Yeah.
But who knows?
I think that could be fine. I mean, you can always do the thing it says in the front of the DMG. Make up your own rules. Pick and choose which ones you want to use. That's the point of D&D. The rules are suggestions.
You know, I'm just thinking back to last night's session I ran, okay? And I did critically hit a player with a giant spider. And you know what? Those hilarious. Are kind of dangerous.
It was funny, though.
It was very funny. But it's just...
That's where I'm at as a DM, is if I crit, I don't feel bad if it was funny.
Well, it's just getting critically hit by a spider is never, especially if your party's alive, is never actually threatening to kill you. No. So, that's why it's whatever.
Yeah.
But if it's a giant or something, right, that crit, or what, they did 2d10 damage, 4d10 plus 8 or whatever? I don't know.
Yeah, the only other things in these general rule changes is some wordings have been changed on things that it's gaming sets have all been reduced to a standard price of 1 GP. Musical instruments are all 20 GP. I think that's good because standardization is fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yep.
It's I don't mind it being there. I don't mind it not being there, honestly. So
and again, if you don't like these rule changes, they're playtest. And even when the system comes out, if they're not different, you don't have to use them.
This is very true.
That's the beauty of 5th edition, is it's a very modular system for its rules.
Granted, again, it's one of those things is I feel like in a system that's this simple, the less rules I have to change, the better, because I already have a lot of work to do. In something like Pathfinder 2e that has a lot of rules, when I ignore something, it's because there's a lot of infrastructure in place anyway.
Yeah. I've seen I've seen some interesting posts about takes, and these. I won't repeat all the takes, but one of the things I've seen is run your games how you want to run them.
Yeah.
These rules are more suggestions. Even the rule makers say that themselves.
God damn it, Lightning. Buy a flute for 20 or a grand piano for 20.
Well, with the grand piano, you're going to need to get a cart to carry that bad boy around.
No.
And I do believe these are speaking about, handheld instruments.
Yeah.
Not...
Sorry. No. Look, it's the same reason in a Pathfinder game. We had an NPC troll bard who had just enough charisma to cast these level 0 spell summon instrument. And then had the improvised weapon, so they would summon grand piano and hit people with it.
I will say it also states here in this rule blurb, the category of tool which is listed in the player's handbook, which does not include a grand piano.
Yeah.
Sad.
These are handheld instruments.
Yeah, these are instruments you could feasibly carry.
I mean,
well, you're probably
20 gold for a wooden flute versus string instrument. I understand it does sound ridiculous, but I mean,
it's a standardization that I think is fine. Anyway, it might be a real. Well, here's the thing: is flutes, like a good quality flute, is actually really expensive.
They're really hard to make too, especially like before modern tech. To get good reeds, I think you got a lot of extra reeds going on too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like certainly, like you could just say you have a more simpler instrument too, but like, I mean, like honestly, like I would like backstory of why you have
a better example
one.
compared to flute would be like an ocarina versus a violin. The violin should probably be more expensive than an ocarina, considering an ocarina is actually a toy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and ocarinas are pretty easy to make.
A recorder.
Yeah.
You can be the recorder part.
Well, I've actually,
how hard is it to make a recorder though before modern tech?
Probably very hard. It's probably even harder to make them sound good.
Well, that's the entire thing.
Next bar to make is gonna play a kazoo, and you can't stop me.
Well, I would only allow that if you actually get a kazoo. And
no. Every time I cast a bard spell, I pull up the kazoo Jurassic Park theme and play that.
Oh god, I'm imagining it right now. That's terrible.
That's how I inspire people to do things.
I think I would reject your inspiration. How? I don't have to accept it. I have
true,
to be willing.
you don't. You have to be willing.
I'm not inspired.
You know what? I'll take like the D6 and I'll minus from my roll.
Like, you just slide whistle next, you know? That's my next grade.
Maracas.
Oh my god, that's.
I mean, my favorite character that was also incredibly silly.
The triangle.
No, I had Steel Drums Halfling.
Oh hell yeah!
So you're inspired yet?
You got like a tambourine.
What's that Ray game instrument? I'm just gonna play that.
Spelljammer. Do we want to at least talk a little bit about that?
I mean, I don't know enough about Spelljammer, other than I just know the couple of blurbs of it's not super detailed in the way people wanted, but I don't know what people thought. It was never going to be super detailed. We already got a book like that called Vinrichten's Guide to Ravenloft, which was not super detailed.
Yeah. The thing is that, like, yes, it's 3 64-page books. It's an adventure, basically a monster manual, and a campaign setting and character options and spells and magic items and ships.
I've mostly only heard the bad parts about the campaign setting book. I have heard mostly good things about the monsters.
I would have to...
I myself have not looked at any of the monsters.
Yeah. I would have to, like, honestly look up somewhere to get some good...
There's 6 races that were added, which are pretty cool.
There's another goddamn elf.
There's also slime people.
Also, that was a mistake, and I think wizards really shouldn't have.
They're oozes, but they don't. They are like amorphous blobs. They don't have any like detail.
You play one in my game, you're not allowed to be a slime girl. I'm vetoing that one immediately.
I don't think they're even intended to have like a human shape to them. They're meant to be like oddly humanoid-ish, but not like.
You're not allowed to play a sexy slime in my games. That's banned.
We're champers.
Feels weird. You can play a cat girl though. That's fine.
Or fox girls.
Or a dog lady. But slime is where I draw the line.
There's also monkey people now.
Yeah.
Monkey people were kind of always around. Nice
did the bug people get added in with the book?
Yeah, the Thrycreen.
Yeah.
I know the robot gnome, also a thing.
Auto gnome, yep. And then there's also the elephant people. Oh, no, sorry, hippo people.
The GIF or whatever. The GIF.
Yeah.
Sorry if you want to pronounce it the proper way. GIF.
Yeah, they're good at firearms.
Oh, yeah, makes sense. That was also a joke. They're just pronounced GIF.
No, they're GIFs.
Good GIFs.
But yeah, the races are pretty standard from what I've seen.
Yep.
I don't know what the
present.
adventure's like. I've not actually seen anyone talk about the adventure yet. That's the thing of if you get a book, you're not really going to know how the adventure is until you run it. You can read through the adventure, but reading is different from having people play through it.
Sure, and running an adventure takes a while.
Yeah.
I'm trying
that
to figure out stuff about it, but like, sorry.
One thing I've seen is it does give you details on the ships themselves, but some details on how to use them are missing. I believe they may want you to refer to Saltmarsh because they already did boat rules.
Yeah, but weren't they bad?
They're fine, but the problem with Saltmarsh is you never got on a boat in the adventures. There were no boat adventures in Saltmarsh, the boat book.
And as a note, it takes a 5th level spell and 5,000 crystal GP of crystal rods to make a spelljamming helm.
Yep.
So, I don't know if that's cheap or not.
No, absolutely not.
Like, it used to be that spelljamming helms were like, not something you could easily make because like there was technically a monopoly by like an alien race, the Arcane.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, those are giants. I was reading about them in the 2e book.
Of course you were.
Big old blue people that like. Well, there's the Arcane, and they have a set of the Mercane, which are like, I think the planar ones, because there's spelljamming one. They're like cousins or something, species. Like one of them's like we took to wild space. The other ones were like we took to the plains. And then they look at each other and they're like, "Fuck you."
That's fair.
That's about every giant species in existence. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just don't really know enough about the book. I've not read it. Not read any of the books.
It's like I'm just trying to find out that basic information, like of like things that they
have
the setting. But like, I mean, them putting the astral sea, the area in between realms, that's fine. In between wild spaces.
Yeah, I think
I'm not against that
because at least for Forgotten Realms, it is the setting they do the most. The multiverse got really fucked up from the spell plague, so a lot of things have changed.
Yeah.
Things don't work like they used to.
So it's just like trying to see and figure it out and all that stuff. It's just not.
They have ship combat rules in here too, actually.
Yeah, it's more the ship travel rules don't really exist, is from what I've heard.
Yeah, it
How
seems
long
like
from plane to plane, or from destination to destination takes.
they give you how fast the ship travels. So,
Yeah.
I guess you gotta figure out.
Good luck, DM.
Yeah. Good luck.
I mean, I'll maybe try to like dive deep and learn a little bit more about this. And maybe I'll come back to this topic a little bit and chat with it a little bit more. But it's sort of like, it's the unfortunate thing that just figuring out stuff on this is not easy. Like, unless you, like, purchase the collection, which is sort of like one of those things is like, it's a 3-book collection. That's not cheap. How much is it?
Yeah, no, but I think it's the same price as a normal source book. I think it's only like $60.
That's not bad.
Which is why I question why didn't they just put it all in one book?
Yeah, that's kind of
Wait,
weird.
is that $60? Is it for the whole package?
I think so.
That's not. I mean, that's fair. I guess I don't mind.
It's like the same price. Yeah, Amazon. Yes, $69.99 the whole bundle. Currently $41.99 because the big D&D still.
I don't mind 3 different books if they're giving the same content because it makes it easier to pick out the book you're looking for the information.
Yes.
It's more that physical books take up a lot of space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
Give
I
us
just stack my books on
goddamn
the counter.
PDFs.
Also, this is, I think, maybe the first adventure that starts at 5th level.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's 5 to 8. That's
Five
honestly.
to 5 to 9.
And of course, they brought back the Rock of Brawl, the Asteroid City.
Yeah.
It's the classic. It's like going to Planescape and not bringing back Sigil. You're not going to be doing that. The Rock of Brawl is that one that you're like, it's the generic place that everybody starts at.
I mean, I'd play in a Spelljammer game. I don't know if I'd run one. Play a slime weirdo. You know,
I
play a
would.
slime girl.
I don't know why the slime weirdos exist, honestly. Anyway,
It's real weird.
I guess I personally like things a little more grounded, so, you know.
That's fair.
Spelljammer Adventures can be good, but it's sort of like it's. I think you'd compare it, Spelljammer, to, honestly, I could compare it to something like Skulls and Shackles, to Buccaneers.
Yeah, you could run a really good space pirate game.
It's High Seas Adventures, is what it is. It's just in a very fantastical setting.
I guess to me, in my head, it's like harder to like. I guess when your speed is so fast that it's basically the equivalent of doing stuff on the ocean, but it just like it feels different. That's just like a personal thing.
Spelljammer doesn't really fit the standard adventure. It's a lot harder to do a standard D&D game in one. You have to really, it leans into the whole pirate thing a lot, or the whole nautical adventure.
Yeah, it's very nautical, because I think like it's like some Spelljammer ships are just boats. The most primitive ones are just boats with spelljamming helms with the helms attached to them.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's sort of like that's when like the more advanced designs are the ones that look...
The Nautilus or whatever.
Yeah, the Nautilus, the Hammerhead, the Squid ship are very classic ones.
The big fuck-off Scorpion ship, or... It's like a Stingray Scorpion.
That's the Spelljammer itself.
That big fuck-off ship that's technically alive.
That's technically alive. That, it just travels the various wild spaces and stuff and does fuck all. So, I was also going to say, like, the Dwarven asteroid ships, where they basically, like, move into an asteroid, make a gigantic furnace. And they don't have spelljamming helms, dwarfs. They kind of make one by accident by having a gigantic furnace that, like, eats up and leftover material while they're forging and digging out an asteroid and eventually move on to a new one. Dwarves are kind of cool ships, actually.
That's cool as hell.
Yeah.
That's kind of metal.
Yeah, the Dwarven ones are really cool. They're just these gigantic flying Dwarven citadels that basically are just like mining out an asteroid. They're like, furnace is running low. We're running out of material to throw into it from the asteroid. Well, how many riches do we have? Plenty. Is there another asteroid nearby? Yes. More riches it is. And then I think elves have like ones grown out of trees that are often like look like moths or like butterflies and shit.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That checks.
Yeah.
Living tree boats are really cool.
And they look like gigantic like moths or butterflies, So they've got like there's like itty bitty tiny area where people actually are with these giant like almost like magical solar sail wings that are like really impressive that have like this weird infrastructure. They're elven because it's unnecessarily complex and beautiful.
Yep.
But they're like, we can do it because we're elves. Anyway, let's talk about Pathfinder. We have the second edition unbundle, Strength of 1,000 Bundles, as they call it. Let's start with that. That's a nice place to start out with. Where's the link?
For a bunch.
There it is. It's humble. It's humble. So I'll just link this into chat here.
It's a pretty good bundle.
I bought it, so
I might buy it.
I don't know if I'll buy it because I have a lot of these books already. I'll have to take a look if there's a lot more extra.
It's the problem of, like, am I going to run TUI? I don't know.
I mean, I do want to... Like, honestly, like, the Strength of Thousands, I could run that one.
I think that my DM style might not fit Pathfinder. So I'm very fast to lose the rules.
I mean...
Yeah, I picked up Foundry. I'm going to try to see if I can learn that, and if I like it, I'll stick with it and stop paying for Roll20, but...
That's fair.
If I don't like it, then it's, I guess it's $50 it kind of wasted, but I'm going to give it a go. Only one way to figure out if I like to learn how to use that system.
$25 will get you the core rule book, the bestiary, the world guide, and you get the advanced player's guide, and then a bunch of adventure books and tiles.
They get the entire adventure path of Strength of Thousands.
Yep.
Bunch of the tile stuff. The Mwangi Expanse book. Some of the the Pathfinder Society scenarios, which those are very interesting. Those are like the Society scenarios are one of those things that I don't talk about a lot. They're effectively like components of an adventure that are a little more open-ended, so you don't have an exact level if you're looking at them that you can use to build a quick adventure from. It's sort of like, here's some tools to build this adventure. Good luck.
Mm-hmm. You also just get the campaign guide for the Mong expense as well.
Yeah, that's good.
Yep, which is cool.
Got a lot of neat stuff on it. So like again, it's one of those things that I'm always glad that Humble does, or Paizo does a lot with Humble, is they just have a bunch of these like bundles where they throw out their products and they also support charities.
I'll probably buy it.
They do a couple a year, honestly. They're like, hey, there's a charity. Sounds great. It's like Wizards, can you do that? Maybe get us some PDFs.
Figure out how the Roll20 link works, I guess.
Paizo.
No PDF for you.
Another thing that I wanted to talk about Paizo related was something I missed was going on. The Kineticist playtest is going on. It is ending soon, September 5th. I talked about the Kineticist coming in the other week. I missed that they had a playtest of it.
Yeah, I also missed that. It's looked fine from what I read. It looked actually maybe a little underwhelming.
Like it means a little more work.
I don't know. What's the internet consensus on it, Sel? You watch videos.
I do. I have the general consensus that it's kind of weak.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. When I read through it, it looks a little weak.
I mean, that's fine, because that's why they have these playtests. Like, if people are like, hey, it feels a little weak, and they come back to it, they're like, okay, how can we ramp this up a little bit, make it a little bit stronger? We know that, like, people feel like it's a little weak for this one,
Yeah, because I like Kineticist because it's the thing that makes you feel like you're the Avatar from Avatar: The Last Airbender. You get all the elements to play with.
Yeah, without actually being an Avatar book, which they have, but sometimes you maybe like in a D&D game, you just want to be like, I want to like use cool water powers and fire powers.
Way better than Elemental Monk.
Elemental Monk.
Elemental Monk is actually the worst.
Maybe that'll get fixed in 5.5.
It has to be. It's the worst. It's the worst subclass in the game.
Imagine if they just deleted it.
I looked at it.
That'd be fine too.
When I was playing, God, I can't even remember his name. Banner. I was like looking at all the different monk archetypes, and I think I just settled on the I'm a generic monk. I punch shit.
Yeah, Open Palm is like the best one. Still.
Yeah, like I'm like looking at all these. And there's some cool ones, and I looked at like the elemental one. I'm like, elemental power sounds so cool, but this is so terrible.
Cool, but it's mechanically terrible.
Yeah. It's just like it looks so cool, but so terrible. But yeah, no, Kineticist. Yep. So
looks pretty fine. Needs some buffing.
I don't have enough experience with the game to really judge it.
On its way, is what I'd say.
This is the thing I have to say about Pathfinder 2e. It's like, I'm used to the scalings, the two different scaling systems. I'm used to Pathfinder 1e scaling system, which is the same scaling system that, honestly, they've had since AD&D. Like, AD&D scaling is the same as 3rd edition scaling, same as 3.5. Even 4th edition scaling was the same, and so was Pathfinder 4. They all the same scaling. 5e brought in its own scaling, which was a little less, which is fine. I feel like Pathfinder's numbers are, 2nd edition's numbers are bigger, but the scaling is closer in nature to 5e.
Yeah, that's what I felt like when I played All Satanthus Run 2nd edition game.
I'll plan. Maybe I'll plan for one. I'll plan for one. I'll try to
after Children of Wrath.
Maybe I'll replace one. Maybe I'll just start it up and leave Children of Wrath like in a different section like soon, because Children of Wrath's ending, and just like start working on that, and then just like be like, Children of Wrath, I might replace it, I might not. I don't know. I'm gonna figure it out.
Replace it with the sequel where they go to college for 3 years instead.
Oh, God,
Wrath of the Children.
Wrath of the Children.
Oh God,
I'll play as Slarvod and go execute Kaz.
I mean, like, honestly, I did find it funny. I gave him and his party the Carrie's demon ant.
I'm gonna be 100% honest. If my character wasn't married, I would have tried to get with the demon.
I mean, she's not a true evil demon. She's like leans heavily evil, but it's sort of like one of those things of like, she's like chaotic neutral with heavy chaotic evil tendencies because she's just a demon and doesn't understand otherwise. You know,
it would have been really funny because Carrion is right there.
She's like, this concept of family love.
Yeah, no,
It's so
sorry,
interesting to
Gary,
me.
and I'm pleased. It's just, just sorry, dating your aunt now, bye.
Okay.
Sounds about right.
It would have been funny. I got a couple more topics, but we're close to actually done the topics. We can talk about for a second an interesting one that I saw, which is a Star Trek Sunday.
Star Trek.
Yes.
That's for nerds.
Bro?
So this is like a little bit of it's Utopia Plantia is what they call it. The book. And it's I think pre-order now. Yeah, pre-orders for this now. So the idea of this is like I think it's the thing is it's very generically Star Trek, which is kind of fine, but it's also like it's a lot more information on like just living in space. You know, it's detailed information on operations aboard a Federation starship, including daily life, locations, shipboard systems, procedures, and more. It's like the book of like, hey, you know, we've set up this game where effectively it's like your military scientists, explorers, and there's a very like definite military hierarchy to the entire thing, and it's sort of like you've been running off of people watching the show. Here's an actual book that defines all that shit. So you have an idea of like playing and being in this universe a little bit more.
I think it's good. I think that the Star Trek system is very good.
Yeah.
And more things like this to help people who are maybe not as familiar with Star Trek as someone who has seen more than one series be able to play in it. I think that's good.
I think it's one of those things is that, like, for me, I know a bunch of people that have seen Star Trek, so I talk about it. They understand it. But I know there's plenty of people that really don't have an exposure to it, and then sort of, like, trying to explain it to them and how it works is not always easy. Because it is... Yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
Or the exposure is the newer generation of Star Trek, which doesn't quite capture the feel of how Star Trek actually is supposed to be.
Yeah, like, the movies, they're fine as movies, they're not really great Star Trek movies, you know? That's what I always say about them. They're fine movies, they just don't capture the feel of what the original, which the message that was a through line through basically everything, including the Enterprise series. Yeah, they're basically turned to, like, action movies.
Yeah.
And less of the storytelling aspect of it. And, like, you know, you could have it had a balance. You could have had like a bunch of action and also had that like fallacies of man and, you know, history shit and things like that.
Fine, just throw time travel into it.
They did. And then the newer series, I mean, I hear Brave New Worlds is fine. You know?
I've not watched it.
I've heard that's a pretty decent one.
I've only seen like a couple episodes of Picard, and it wasn't for me.
Picard's a mixed bag for people. Honestly, that I've also heard. I only saw most of the first season. It was okay. I have to still finish it and then maybe see the second season. I don't know. I haven't. There's things I hear about it that are like, anyway. So it's like stuff for missions and campaigns that help you out with that. Updating game statistics for like 70 different starships. So that's another thing that I'm very glad with. They give you like 5 starships in the base book that you can like work off of, so you're like, I can build my own stats because I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing.
They got the one of the Star Trek Online people to do a lot of the lore and stats,
and I'm like, yay!
Stats, that's pretty good.
Stats for your ships, so I can be like, this is a class ship. I have something to work off of. If I want to edit it and make it like, you know, custom version of a ship, like this is the US, this is USS still. It's, I don't know why. They keep it the same. It's like instead of like the, you know, it's like the, like, you don't have the Enterprise. You have the like I can't think of a good word right now that sounds like the Mediterranean. There you go. They might name it after that. Honestly, I look on the spot. I'm sometimes really bad at name. It takes me a couple minutes to think of something.
No, it's fair.
Mm-hmm. That's why when you're having conversations to RPG where I have to make up a name, I usually think about it. I'm like, oh god, I'm gonna need a name. What is it? Okay, I got a name. I'm ready. And then by the time you get there, I'm like, this is the name. Ha-ha!
True.
I was prepared.
Yeah, more Star Trek is always good.
Yeah, and this looks like a really good book to have. USS Steve Jackson.
Yeah.
Maybe he's famous enough in the future. Maybe not.
Yeah, he's more famous than Elon Musk is in Star Trek Discovery, because I've heard he's mentioned in that stuff.
Mm-hmm. I'm shaking my head now. Just shaking it.
SMH.
Yeah.
I think we talked about the Kickstarter for this, but the orders for the PDF, I think the PDF and physical stuff is physical stuff's on pre-orders. PDF are out now of this one, so I wanted to mention it, of Planegea, which is Prehistoric 5e setting that Atlas Games did.
I'm always curious about these prehistoric settings, because, like, what's the equivalent of plate mail in them? I want to know.
I think I saw people talking about this one.
Dragon scales that you hewed off of them to create your plate.
Well, surely, I mean, that might be like dinosaur scale or dragon scale. Yeah, that might make sense.
Yeah, it's like you actually use some kind of powerful creature with like very toughened, hardened bone things, and make some armor out of it or something. Because honestly, the things, they're made of bones, but like certain creatures have hardened parts of their body which are a little more like thicker and stronger because they're made to be, more defensive and stuff.
Yeah, and the T-Rex is a big chicken.
It really is.
Real?
It would probably have been delicious.
That's the dodo. We've been robbed of that, though.
We have been robbed of the deliciousness of the dodo. Curse you, European explorers!
Yeah, that's true. Dragonbone is the strongest armor in Skyrim, despite bone not actually being that strong.
But I think Dragonbone's supposed to be magical or some kind of shit like that.
So it seems they have like a conversion from what I'm finding online.
That makes sense, yeah.
And the equivalent to like adamantine is divine ivory, I think is what it says.
Okay.
Which is like bones of a god.
That's
weird.
Let's
see, Mithram is gemweave. Platinum is dragon tooth.
That makes sense, yeah. That's fair.
So there seems to have middle conversions.
That's good. I like when people do weird stuff with this.
Yeah, and they've got it.
Also, I could finally use dinosaurs, which, don't really come up in D&D that much.
They also say in the book that they are not changing the armors at all, so you can still get full plate, but you just gotta flavor it or something, not full plate.
Yeah.
Probably stone plates.
Or like bones or wood, something like that.
Congratulations! Wednesdays you might fight some dinosaurs.
Hell yeah!
Oh, true. We're gonna have to fight like some allosauruses, right?
We gotta fight more tree monsters.
Tree monsters and I have to admit, there are actually tree monsters and dinosaurs.
Oh, I mean that makes sense. It's a horrific island.
Yeah.
As long as there's no, what do you call it? There's no vine monsters that are gonna choke us. I think it's pretty fine.
Have
no
to
vine
go
monsters. The closest thing was that octopi.
No, when we go into the big abandoned dungeon that clearly exists on the island, we're gonna get to a room where we have to fight shadowy versions of ourselves.
I would believe it.
What adventure was that from?
That's from Ocarina of Time. Tempest.
Oh god.
It is.
No. The thing is, I swear, I know it's Ocarina of Time, but I was thinking from an actual role-playing game. I swear, either I heard someone talk about it, or I was in a game where a friend of mine ripped that off, and I couldn't remember which one it was. That's what I was thinking of. I'm like, didn't I do that in a game, or hear about someone fighting shadowy versions?
You also do it in the Elder Scrolls Oblivion.
It's
a pretty common trope.
It just gets ripped off a lot.
It gets ripped off a lot.
Really good.
That's why I was trying to think of it. It was less the Ocarina of Time version and more like an actual RPG.
You must fight the evil within yourself, and you'll get this cool +2 mace after you do it.
And there's special created background music, 54-track soundtrack for this game too, for Planegea.
That's cool, actually. That's legit as hell.
Yeah.
That is the one shame of Wednesday currently. Misty will not get to shoot a T-Rex.
True. I'm not proficient with guns either.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, if you guys go to like the Milwaukee Expanse, there's also dinosaurs there because that's supposed to be like the area they survived from ancient days. They're just,
I would believe we have to go there because on the map that you have, there's some things that are pointed on that location, on that main landmass.
It might be optional though, to be fair.
Some of them aren't really optional, but like, it's the thing that like, I think it's always the interesting thing about Galarian. They're like, yeah, there was like big apocalyptic things, except like unlike our world, like some things survived in certain areas of the world and just stayed. So there are dinosaurs. They just have left over in this one area of the world because they never went extinct. You know?
Yakul's just a big dinosaur.
He is kind of a big dinosaur. And I have one final topic for today, which this is the link. It's this is the pre-Kickstarter for
T-Rex
this.
has a gun too. Oh no! Why does the T-Rex have a gun? Where did the T-Rex get a gun from?
It's a Star Wars race.
Actually, no, I know where this is from. It's from one of the Torok games where there's a T-Rex with 2 miniguns mounted to it.
Yeah, Torok games.
I forget which game that's in, but that's actually a thing.
I will always remember in a Pathfinder game where we fought a T-Rex, and it was the same one with the Bard Troll. He got eaten by the T-Rex, so we're like, oh shit, we got to get him out in time. He was a scrag, so he's only vulnerable to acid, so he's being digested there. But we managed to kill the T-Rex in time, so he's managed to emerge like technically 9/10 digested. He's a troll, so he can get like healed back up, but he was at like 3 hit points. He's like, ow!
That's what Claude does to people.
That's what Claude does to people. He did do that to a person.
He left the man half digested.
You do realize you consume them.
Joe makes interesting decisions.
I just specifically told them he is a monster. I figured out to be a horrible monstrosity who's trying to. That's the good story about him. He's trying to be more human.
Every single person in that party, except for me, because I've literally done nothing wrong, like actually, deserves to just be executed by the state.
I mean, like, I think you could, like, get away with, like, Carrie and Claude getting, like, away with imprisonment or something.
Carrion is probably, like, fine. I don't know if Carrion's done enough crime to be a world threat yet.
Claude's on the edge. He keeps, like, playing around with world threat things that are, like, you know, like,
yeah,
oh, hey, I got, like, I can summon, like, a small army of shadow monsters. Or, like, you know, I can talk to this, like, you know, German war criminal effectively.
Yeah, Claude wants to talk to the Nazi inside of his head.
He really kind of is. This thing, I want to talk to the Nazi in my head. Like, really? I'll use him.
Like, I don't just. I mean, you know what? Whatever. Good for him, I guess. What's the last thing?
This thing here. It's coming out soon. It's gonna be a Kickstarter. It's a Adventure Society RPG. It's supposed to be like a very family-friendly, very general adventure one. It's designed for principles of social emotional learning. So it's good for helping with communications, emotional wellness, social awareness, stuff like that. It's got good designs and stuff. It's like a world of animals that used to be at war, and so like you're a group of animals from all these different regions that have come together to this venture society. That you're basically like a kid-friendly version of the Pathfinder Society from Pathfinder.
Yeah,
know?
It's very good for like really young kids. It's from what I'm kind of seeing from this video.
Look, Evil Beaver is dead. He was killed in the Great War.
Unfortunate.
He tried to have the genocide against the otters. God, what?
Otters. The fuck?
Yeah, beavers versus otters.
Poor otters.
Look, he tried, but
beavers.
That's why he got killed.
I guess the question is, all right. I mean, I think the beavers win the fight, though, right?
Oh no, otters have like they they can hit them with rocks and stuff, right?
Yeah, well,
they
Otters
got the
Otters
intelligence.
have like thumbs, don't they?
they called in some of their allies to help out. In the Great War.
Yeah, but beavers got those tails.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's why it was a world war, because they called in their allies and it became a side versus side. It was all.
Yeah, I think otters win just because they have thumbs.
Mm-hmm.
True.
It's one of the reasons
that
Evil
is an
Beaver
advantage.
was. It's why Evil Beaver was killed. The beavers were defeated eventually in the Great War. He did have big teeth, big chompers, and a big old tail, but it wasn't enough to defeat the United Front of Otters and Friends. So I have the weirdest World War II version of stuff. It's
It's basically what I do when someone asks something stupid when they talk to an animal.
I'm making an animal version of World War II.
Sometimes it's the Rat Kingdom, sometimes it's Otter Hitler.
That was Beaver Hitler, thank you.
I don't know what side the beavers are on. I didn't even get the history book. The history's written by the victors. You don't know.
This is so weird. Anyway, it's very nice, and I wanted to talk about it.
You ruined it.
God.
Anyways, it's an RPG that looks like to be very good for teaching kids how to roleplay and, do social stuff.
Yeah, and it's probably pretty good for, parents that want to do stuff with their kids. Yeah. They say teachers here, and I'm honestly, yeah, it would be a good thing for, teacher groups that want to run some things like this. I think that's a good thing, because this is, I feel like the concept of the role-playing game is actually really good for a kind of gaming thing that, would be very useful for, a teaching tool and getting into that kind of stuff. Anyway.
Yeah, well, it's good for social development.
Mm-hmm. It's not gonna. It's 17 days before it actually comes out. But you know what? I wanted to at least mention it. Give it a shout out here. It has been long enough that I think we're just not gonna have a topic for today.
No, I don't think we can have one. It's almost 4 o'clock.
Yeah. So let's talk about our week in gaming.
Yeah, we had those, I guess.
I mean,
we had what?
What was the first game we had?
What was up? We didn't do any of these. We had Sunday, didn't we?
Sunday we didn't have.
Oh, that's right.
We didn't have Sunday. I don't think anyone does anything on Monday.
Sal, you do anything on Monday? RPG?
I do play a game on Monday.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
What'd you do on Monday?
Played a kingdom building game.
So just looked at spreadsheets for 4 hours.
That's not entirely wrong. But
look.
What kind of escapades did you get up to?
I had to make a game-defining decision for my character.
Mm-hmm.
Make a deal with a really bad nation that was a really good deal, or don't make the deal and be in a really bad position. So
one of those kind of decisions.
So I chose the moral route, so we'll see how that goes. Which might be terribly.
Yeah, you're probably gonna die.
Morality.
I mean, it's not going to happen eventually. What happens when you play...
Everyone dies eventually.
So what happens when you play a generally good character in a generally not good world?
Nope.
Yeah, that happens.
That's things. Yeah.
We did have Star Wars.
You guys did do things on Tuesday. You enacted your plan of insanity, and so far it's worked. You shot a big super weapon at a big Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
Blew up the super weapon. Fought a dude who snuck onto your ship because he rolled a 30 stealth check. He died, predictably. And now you're on a... You're invading a super Star Destroyer. It's gonna take you a while.
Yeah.
You've effectively launched a planetary invasion.
Yeah.
And also one that can technically still run away.
Yeah, but she won't. She wants to meet us.
Yeah, you finally decided maybe you should talk to the person.
Well, I mean...
For so long.
I don't know why I was up to that. I was not the right person to pick.
Maybe we should talk now. Now that you're all forced in a situation where you're gonna meet each other. Yeah, I could have sassed you, but I chose not to.
That's my job, and I chose not to.
Yeah, if you... Oh, God, you've learned your lesson enough that I didn't have to force choke you.
Look, after, the second time, it was a lesson enough.
Yeah, no, the third time, you might start developing something.
Yeah.
Look,
I'm gonna say here, I think my character
takes like 3 times to build a habit.
I think my character's asexual enough that he probably wouldn't still. I gotta be honest.
I really like being strangled.
Awakened something deep inside him he didn't know he had.
Yeah.
But no. Yep, so...
yeah, you're fighting your way through a super Star Destroyer. Yeah,
It'll be
that's
fine.
probably fine. I mean, that game might end in 2 sessions.
Yeah, God. It's sort of like
There was a bunch of side stuff you guys didn't do, but ultimately that's fine because it would have just given you context. There were no item rewards for it. It was just you would learn things about the past and why maybe this is happening now. But I guess you probably deemed the threat. Maybe you should go deal with it now. It's been long enough.
Yeah, we were very good at putting off things.
You didn't go to college for a year though, so you're doing better than some people.
Hey, look, I get all the important information by just going and bluntly asking questions.
Just asking questions, yeah. Weird.
Hey, what's up with this? And I get my answer. So easy.
Yep.
All it takes.
It does. It's all it takes sometimes.
Yeah.
Ah, shit.
That was Star Wars. That's ending faster than I thought it would.
Yeah, that happens.
Speedrunning it, okay?
Kind of are.
We had Buccaneers of Shackled Sea.
Yeah.
You went to an island after some adventuring where you went to get the spyglass and you met some nice ghosts that you made a deal with.
I don't remember what that deal was.
Yeah, I'm still not sure how I'm gonna transport a Cyclops on a ship.
They are only
easy enough.
large size.
Yeah,
or
that's
huge size
probably easy
most.
enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big cage.
Also, again, if you tell this person, the ghosts of your ancestors have deemed us to capture you and take you away from this place and give you to them, and you manage to convince them that, they might actually listen.
You could also maybe trick them.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I will need the tongue spells if it doesn't speak our language.
It probably doesn't.
Probably speaks
That's
Cyclops.
a spell. And that's, fun fact, tongues is a level 4 spell, which I don't have. So.
Fair enough. Yeah, we got a weird spyglass out of it, and an oracle kissed me on the face.
Mm-hmm.
That did happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine, I'm also an oracle. That's just normal.
And then we got attacked by incorporeal dream-eating monsters.
I love that this keeps happening, where I get surrounded by enemies, yet nothing happens to me.
Who's one dude?
I spend the session being like, I'm gonna die.
I gotta be honest, there were bigger threats to these things than they're smart enough to be like, shit, this thing's actually damaging us. Let's do shit to it. I mean, you made some saves, but you actually made the saves.
I also forgot immediately after remembering I should have summoned 2 elementals instead of the 1 because of my feet.
Yeah.
Does it work when you can only summon 1 creature?
Yep. All summons.
I thought.
Nope. You summon an additional 1.
Cool, that's good then. I must have misread it.
Pretty sure you just summon an additional 1.
It was fine. You guys defeated the mighty and powerful dream monsters.
They're kind of ugly.
Well, they're supposed to be technically animated nightmares, I would call them. So they're supposed to look like nightmare monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. I mean, we're in a weird fort, and we can't commit on going into any rooms, so
I mean, the things that they talked to Yakul first, and Yakul said some things. I don't know how much you're going to remember, because they were talking to Yakul.
Yeah, not the best person to talk to.
He was the first one that entered.
He's the dumbest person.
They don't know this. They're just like, this person's here. Probe them for information. You're not going to answer us? Attack you.
That's fine. I ended pretty fine, you know?
Yeah, no one got too hurt. I got cursed, but then I'm cursed.
I mean, uncursing's easy enough.
Yeah, they had some pretty horrible attacks. And they did do a lot of damage if they hit, but the thing is, they rely very much on their crowd control spells first, so that's like a disadvantage to them.
Yeah,
they basically always hit.
I forgot that incorporeal creatures have high touches.
They're hard to deal with. Honestly, not impossible to deal with.
I don't have ghost touch hands.
Yeah, I mean their touch attacks are plus 16. Okay, I was stunned for a moment.
Yeah.
I was like, what the? I have a high touch AC, but my god damn.
Well, it's like
yeah.
They have a 0 strength, so they're all dex. All
yeah,
dex.
they're all just dexterity.
So it's base attack, dex, and then like that's it. I think they might have some other bonuses sometimes.
Yep.
You know.
We'll probably have to fight more of them, maybe. I don't know. Before we're just like mega cursed.
I hope not. I don't have any spells to deal with them.
I mean, you know, there are things in the fort that you'll discover, and you'll have to enjoy that.
I assume we're gonna go back to the fort.
Yeah, that's where we're going.
It
right
is
away.
Technically a stone structure, even if it's highly damaged. It is a stone structure that is easily convertible, that you don't have to build your own.
Yeah.
With the amount of time you've been giving, fixing that up would probably be possible in comparison to, let's say,
building a town,
building an entire new fortress and stuff like that. Honestly, it's got a number of buildings in the center. Yes, you can build a town outside, like down where there was a town at one point in time, but like it's a much more protected area against the wilds of the jungle and stuff. So
building a town's for a later date.
Yeah,
you set up the fort and then you build the town outside the fort once you clear out a bunch of areas.
That's what they tried to do, except something driven. They left for a reason. Who knows why?
They weren't level 9 character, so
That's true. They probably weren't.
They might have like one. Their like commander or something. Could
Yeah,
have
their
been, like,
commander might have been like level 9 or 10.
Yeah, but like that was a military person, so it was like, we're having horrible losses. I guess we should withdraw.
We're crazy pirates.
Yeah. Then
No sense of self-preservation.
We had Children of Wrath.
Chad, Children of Wrath, where Kaz made his airship, the Hellkite 2, and then I activated the endgame, where I was like, horrible sky fortress made by an ancient civilization has awakened.
Yep.
Good luck.
That's fine.
that was the enemy's endgame. They're like, they know they can't conquer the world with this thing because it's made to be supported by an armada, but they don't need to. It's made to be a threat of, listen to me or I'll nuke your city.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately for them, 3 of the 4 people are insane.
Yeah. I mean, I expected you to, like, figure something out, but, like, I didn't have to coax much stuff to get you, like, I was half expecting them to go directly to try to break in there.
Yeah, I was gonna never suggest doing that.
I was expecting them to do
that'd be really fucking stupid.
Well, I mean, like, then would have been straight into the end game, which I had 2 sessions planned for that entire thing.
Yeah, we have to go to Antarctica first.
Yeah, so that's why it's going to be a little bit more than 2 sessions, because this is
I don't know, we might
the main...
talk to... I don't know, Kaz might want to talk to the horrible monstrosity he created as well, I guess.
I mean, it's an option if he really wants to.
I don't want to.
I don't think he should.
I don't want to deal with that.
If he goes to talk to it, I'm gonna have a weird family reunion happen.
Good.
I was holding off on that until, like, I was literally going to spring the dragon husband of the monstrosity, the reincarnated husband of the monstrosity you created, you resurrected from the deads, coming back to meet you at the end game.
Yeah.
That was what I was going to do. It's sort of like leaving off Kaz's history with so, you brought my wife back from the dead and made her a horrible monstrosity.
Yeah, that's fair.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, it was fine. It's towards the end game. You know, we're right at the back end of it. So, anybody do anything on Friday?
Yeah. So what do we do on Friday?
Yeah, the party that I run, they decided to, the session before, not go down into the cave. That was the immediate thing to go down, and left, and then did nothing. And then this session, they went down into the cave, and it had a lot less information because, they came back a week later.
People made decisions. It's just, weird.
Flawless plan.
Flawless plan. Just leave. Goodbye.
Since I made them fight spiders, made them fight a phase spider. Phase spiders are fun to play with.
You almost killed 2 people.
The poison wouldn't kill you.
You almost killed 2 people. You nearly one-shot the halfling with a phase spider.
I nearly one-shot the halfling and the Goliath.
Yeah,
okay? I critically hit the Goliath, so there's that. Stun's endurance saved him once again.
This is why I don't want to be a frontliner.
I only critically hit Viking Magoo. Okay. I've crit Viking like 5 times.
Yep.
Yeah, I normally just miss everyone else. So there's that.
That's why you build Badger as a Cavalier, because then he could just be like, yeah, I just ignore a lot of the shit, man.
I just love that I have both the most HP and most AC, yet no one has ever told me to go in front.
Well, you have the same AC as Viking, so.
It's just no one ever tells me to go in front. I don't know why.
Well, it's like...
I don't.
Look, it's like in Star Wars with Nax. It's like, I ran into the front this time, and I'm like, yeah, you kinda did, but normally you with the highest HP and AC are a lot of times in ranged...
Figure it out, Scrubs. I am safe.
Figure it out, Scrubs. I'm safe.
I have a weapon that has reach. Get fucked.
Mm-hmm. Good times.
Yeah, but it's I gotta prep some cities.
Lightning did things.
Lightning tried to empty a lake, underground little lake.
Let me just paint the scene for you. We're in an abandoned spider cave, and there's a pool of water, and we have this alchemical jug that can hold a gallon of water in it. Like a normal jug, right?
Yeah.
So, Lightning wants to explore the water, but doesn't want to go into it. So instead, tries to empty the puddle 1 gallon of water at a time.
And eventually, the pit that Lightning was filling up overflows, and the water, the cave is angled slightly towards the lake where the water is collected, obviously. That's how water works. So it just rolls back into the pond.
Yeah, I was stunned.
I
didn't know how to react.
I wasn't sure what to do either. But,
What are you doing? Why are you doing this?
Sometimes you're doing things.
Sometimes you just have to empty a puddle 1 gallon at a time.
Flawless plan. Would have worked. But...
Look, like only 100 trips.
Yeah, that would have been fine,
Mm-hmm.
I should just fucking left it down there. Bye, have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The session kind of didn't recover after that one.
Just checking something here. Oh, God! Oh, my God! I'm sorry. Oh.
Lightning also stole a skeleton.
That did also happen.
I just looked up how many gallons in an Olympic swimming pool.
A lot.
It's a lot. It wasn't that big.
660,000.
Yeah, it was less than that.
It was gonna be like, it was gonna end up being like to give really estimates, like a 3x5x3 cube of water.
It still screams to me that it takes a long time with 1 gallon at a time. A lot longer than I was thinking.
That's a lot of fucking water.
It was very funny. Yeah, I guess we're going to go talk to people.
Hey, sometimes
you're gonna talk to people, figure out maybe what the guys' goals are by talking to people that have more information.
I was gonna go visit the spot where I was buried. And
Oh, that's
came
true.
back,
You're
I guess.
gonna fix it. Yep,
I'm gonna
that's
prep
happening.
that one.
I have it prepped already.
Because I want to stop being an undead monstrosity at some point.
Yeah, but you gotta talk to some people.
Just be normal again.
You gotta talk to people and figure that one out, though.
Yeah, I don't know who to talk to. Well, I have an idea of who to talk to, but she's in a much farther north city than we're currently at.
Yep. Okay. That was our week in tabletop. I think that's about it for today. Yeah, no topic today just because we had a lot to talk about with everything goddamn Wizards threw out there. It's that weird thing that, like, I don't know what I expected from them because they had, like, their D&D thing once a year. I assumed they wouldn't have as much as they did, honestly, because they do spread out a lot of these announcements a lot of times.
Yeah.
But today they were just like, well, they were like, well, nope, we're gonna give you all the shit, man. Hey, fine on them. So, I think we're gonna get going for today. I think that was good enough. Thank you both Momo and Sel for joining me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Contributing to the conversation, as it's been crazy. The plan for now will be back, of course, next week for more of this show. Same time, same place. We'll see who joins us then. Probably Momo, maybe Asel, maybe some other people. You never know. Everything's on the schedule. I should be back on Monday. I've got Final Fantasy 12. I've done some things. I got a Zodiac Spear.
Oh, alright. Fair enough.
Well, in the Zodiac Age, it's like a 1% spawn in this area. Yeah. I technically got it twice.
Nice.
I got it once, but then accidentally died because I was an idiot. Nice. So I had to get it a second time. Didn't have to go the full 100 times to get it either time, so that was pretty good. I beat an Esper and stole from it the weird weapon that doesn't have a model, but it's like the best knife in the game. So
it's invisible knife.
It's invisible. Yeah, it is weird. So I recorded that so I can show 2 minutes of video of me actually fighting that thing at the beginning of the show on Monday, being like, I did this because I wanted to show off the Esper, but also I had to keep running back and forth and trying to steal from it, so I wasn't gonna do that on stream. It took a while. Had really low steal rate. I'll do more stuff before we continue it. As I said, it should be pretty close to being done. Honestly, that's almost done. Other things on the schedule: Wrath of the Righteous, of course, the Pathfinder game. We'll be doing more of that. Buccaneers of Shackle Sea should be on for Wednesday. We're on schedule for that. We're on schedule for Children of Wrath. And I guess I'll start making some plannings for some stuff. Like, I've been thinking about that second edition game. Maybe I'll see if there's a day I want to do that. Honestly, I don't know when yet, or stuff like that. I'll figure it out. So, anyway, thank you all for joining us. Thanks again to my two special guest hosts today. I'll be back next week. So until then, farewell, and see you all on Monday. Goodbye, everybody.
See ya.